Greetings, Irish Nation and Irish haters. The recruiting is over. Commitments have been made. Transfers decided. Practices are in motion. Games are slated. Bowl games with unknown participants with a national champion uncrowned. But to play like a champion, you need to talk like a champion. Welcome back, Irish Nation. Glad you could join us for another edition of Talk Like a Champion. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo. Hope you guys are doing good and recovered from this pretty much swan song to our season. I know a lot of you are going to say it's not the end of the season, but listen, guys. I didn't say this to lift anybody's spirits and whatnot. I truly believe that this team was a national contender. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to comment, oh, you're dreaming. This year is wide open. And for what it was worth, I was really thinking that our football team was not as flawed as it was. But going into the details, the Irish fell Saturday night in a game that... You know, and as I've said, I will give more credence to the inexperience of Jared Parker than I will our team. But Al Golden didn't coach a good game either. You know, let's not exclude the defensive coordinator who has consistently this year saw his defense miss tackles. Now, granted, they did turn the ball over 5 times. You can't just give away the football that many times and, you know, the game not get out of hand. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm not going to put this on Sam Hartman. And people are going to say, they're going to go to the show and they're going to say this 33-20 defeat was because you kept saying throw the football, throw the football, throw the football. Louisville outnumbered us. They won the number game. And what I mean by that is when you're trying to run the football and you only have 6, 7 guys blocking and they're sending 8 or 9, you're not going to win that battle. You know, and I was listening to a couple of writers talk about how Joe Alt got beat, and you know he's an NFL caliber player. He's not going to have a perfect game. And, you know, they're saying that they got beat many a time. Well, Louisville did something that you need to do to guys like Blake Fisher and Joe Alt. Confuse them. And the crowd was not easy. Oh, and by the way, once again, Notre Dame coming into Louisville draws a record crowd. So, before we start getting too heavy on our offensive line, this team has had to go into some hostile environments, which is why I challenge Notre Dame Nation, Irish Nation. Y'all got to pack the house come Saturday night when we go to when USC comes to town. We got to give them the same kind of hell that Louisville, Duke, and even North Carolina State has given to our boys. Y'all got to turn this into an advantage. That's another problem, guys. We got to make Notre Dame Stadium a place you don't want to come to play. That's another conversation. But you look at the total yardage, 330 to 298. But that turnover, 17 first downs, you guys. Time of possession, Louisville had the ball 3 more minutes. But it's the turnovers. And I can't blame Sam Hartman for his interceptions. I mean, you look at him, you know, some of it's play calling. You know, and I'm not trying to put Jared Parker under the bus, but I mean, you can look at it and tell he is a inexperienced play caller. Marcus Freeman, you are going to have to figure out what guy we can get in here. We sit here and talk about pro-style offense if we want to, but here's the reality. With a pro-style offense, there's motion. With a pro-style offense, there's lots of play action and misdirection. Louisville didn't care. Louisville was trying to win the game. And I'm going to say it right here. Louisville's not going to win undefeated. And this is not hating. You're not going to be able to go in here against a team that doesn't run a pro-style offense and run the kind of stuff that you ran the other night, playing guys off the line. You're going to run into a team that's going to do the exact same thing you did. You put 8, 9 in the box and dare you to throw it over the top. And don't get me wrong, I think Jack Plummer's a good kid, but he ain't got that accuracy that you think he does. Louisville went into this game knowing they were outmanned. It's simple. You watch the game over again. Louisville simply did one thing. They put everything in the box. They dared Sam Hartman to beat them. And then the old talk about, Notre Dame doesn't have guys that can win one-on-ones. Well, it's kind of hard to win one-on-ones when those one-on-ones are pretty predictable. I'm just saying, you're asking a guy, whether it's, Rico Flores, Jaden Greathouse, you're asking these guys, and Tobias Merriweather, Jaden Thomas, even Mitchell Evans. You're asking these guys to win one-on-ones that teams are seeing their routes all day, every day. Hardly saw anything down the field. Now, I get it. The blitzes were bad, but we didn't see hardly any screens called. We saw wide receiver screens. We've got 2 really good tight ends. I don't understand why we just didn't line up in double tight end set, put Jaden Thomas, Jaden Greathouse, or Rico Flores, or Tobias Merriweather on the outside and just said, we're going to run right at you that way. Okay, you're going to put 8, 9 in the box. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to take our shots with 2 wide receivers. And not to mention, we'll shift the rotation and move the tight ends to the slots. You have to get creative, Jared Parker. You have to get creative. This ain't the 1930s and the 1940s where you got better players than everybody in the country. These other teams are going to throw the kitchen sink at you. They're not going to play what you consider regular football. They're going to win the numbers game because that's the only way they're going to win. They're going to take chances. You have to not be willing to take those risks. And throwing the ball 10 or 15 yards down the field is not going to happen because they're not afraid of you deep. You have to encourage Sam Hartman to do that. And the one beautiful play that you ran was you ran a straight up corner route across the field. Across the field corner route, which was one of the prettiest plays of the year. I don't understand why that is so difficult. I mean, I get it. Louisville was doing but there was too many times where Sam Hartman had nowhere to go with the ball. These weren't just out of the bridge sacks. These was, saying that, I just got frustrated when I kept hearing guys say, you got guys that can't get separation. Well, when the routes are bad and a team is basically saying, okay, we're playing this type of coverage, and they're taking away everything here. We had a spot where there was a pump and go play. It was there. It was there. Jared Parker, you got to run plays that are going to set you up. If you're sitting here, you got to make a note. Look, if everything's stopped on this type of play, you got to run that play and put a pump and go in there. You have to put a pump and go in there. And I'm not seeing enough of, when you have a quarterback that's as experienced as Sam Hartman, you're not utilizing his ability. His ability to be intelligent, make plays on the fly, and create mismatches is just by his intelligence. The thing is, you're sitting here saying, we're expecting this guy to get open. We're expecting this guy. You don't know how the game is going to be called, so it's much more difficult. And the throw that corner route I was referring to was Jordan Faison. I didn't know who this kid was. Sorry. I followed Irish, and he also went on to have a good game. Good concept, but it just seems to me now all of a sudden it's like, okay, Mitchell Evans has become the go-to guy. Not a problem, but it's, what does it say about, you're talking about Jaden Thomas? In the beginning of the season, it was like Gerard Parker was having fun calling plays. He understood what he needed to do. See, now it's at a point they got you on field, Parker. You got to do more. You have to do more with understanding that you don't have the same luxuries that you had early in the season where teams don't know what you're calling. You have to take your play calling to another level. And if you're going to get us to another point of a big victory over USC this week, you have to evolve as a play caller. There is no way, and I'm tired of hearing people say it's the receiver's inability to get open. It has nothing to do with that if you're calling the right plays. You have to put these guys in good positions to score the ball and get open. You're saying that this guy's not get open. I saw several plays where it's just like, this is a cover 2 short. They're playing a zone short. Nothing's over the top. You tell me where you're going to go when you got one slant, one cross the middle, one slant, and then a comeback route. You got nothing breaking to the deep. You got nothing breaking to the boundary. Safeties are up in the box. So guess what? If you got a 4, even a 6-man pass rush, you still got 5 guys in coverage. The problem I've seen too many times is we've got some speedy guys. We don't have nothing streaking across the middle. I have said this time and time again. We have to have something going deep every single play. We don't. We don't call any play action rollouts. As good as our running game is, teams are keying on the running game. They're keying on the running game. Estimate didn't do anything, and it's no fault of his. People are going to say, okay, well, Love had a great game. Yeah, Love did have a pretty good game. Love had a pretty game. Jeremiah Love had a pretty good game. 5 carries for 37 yards. A lot of people are going to look at that and say, well, maybe there's a change on the horizon. Well, I don't think so. I think the problem is when you start looking at it theoretically, you don't need to sit there and say, okay, this season's a wash. Audric Estime is going to go to the NFL. You can't immediately assume that. And I spent a lot of time talking about Gerard Parker, but I've been saying this since early in the year. If this Notre Dame team was going to bog down late in the season, it was going to be because of Gerad Parker not having faith in Sam Hartman and having faith that we can throw the ball deep. Because you look at the teams that are in the top. It's not just guys that can get open. They have to have the ability to be able to catch contested balls. Jaden Thomas can do that. See, the thing is, if Sam Hartman is seeing that, hey, this is what I got to do. I'm going to throw this thing down there and let Jaden Thomas go make a play. I will say some of this is on Sam's. If you get Jaden Thomas by himself down there, he needs to get the football. Give him a chance. Merriweather's dropped some big ones this year deep. I get it. But this can only help his confidence next year. And there's even talks that possibly after this game, with the bye coming up, that they could possibly go away from Hartman and start. I was reading one article where it said they was talking about maybe putting Angeli in. Me personally, I don't think that's a good idea. I think we need to finish the season and possibly move towards possibly getting Angeli or Kenny Minchie some snaps. But this whole season isn't a wash. I know what people are going to say. Well, it is a wash in a sense. That's what a lot of people are going to say. Me personally, I think you can still get to a New Year's Six. And people are going to say, well, what good is it if it's not for a national championship? I'll tell you exactly what it's good for. Recruiting. We're not done. I mean, we're done as far as the big game is concerned. And a lot of this has to do with Al Golden's got to understand. We got to be able to tackle the damn ball. We had too many seniors come back this year for us to be so inadequate in the tackle game. I'm going to try to dig these stats up, Irish Nation, but I know we're over 250 missed tackles. I mean, we missed a ton of tackles in the Louisville game. We missed a ton of tackles in the Duke game. And You miss tackles against USC. This is speed on top of speed. And it can't happen. I mean, we cannot keep having tackles, missed tackles, missed tackles, missed tackles, missed tackles. But looking at the box score, this is probably, the Ohio State game was not a bad statistical game, but this one really was. I mean, you talking about Hartman threw it 38 times for 254, but then you look at it and you're saying, okay, we ran it 28 times for 44 yards, you guys. 44 yards. I mean, this is just and they ran it for over 185 yards. One guy in Jordan, Jahar Jordan had 143 yards on 21 carries. 2 touchdowns. I mean, Thrash had 8 catches, 75 yards on a touchdown. The best receiver we had was Mitchell Evans. Holden Stays had 2 grabs for 16. And the reason why I bring these 2 guys up is this reason right here. Why don't we go to more we say we run a pro style offense. Where's the double tight ends? You go to the matchups that you get the biggest mismatches with. With Stays and Mitchell Evans, you get that. If we get a team that's going to load the box, we need to either go double tight end and run screens, or we need to run double tight end and run play action pass. To me, when you say pro style offense, because here's the thing: when I look at Sam Hartman at Wake Forest, we're running out of the shotgun. Where are the plays that Sam Hartman liked to run at Wake Forest? I don't understand why we have not incorporated that. Things that he understands and he likes. I'm a firm believer you always have to have some things in there that the quarterback is comfortable with. And like I said, Sam Hartman likes to throw it down the field. I saw 2 of his interceptions, there were 2 guys in the general vicinity. Not good. That's bad play calling. Very bad play calling. You got enough speed on this team. What makes Kansas City so dangerous? They push the ball down the field. And even if they don't, they give you the impression that they're going to push it down the field. It's just getting really, really monotonous, Jared Parker. It's getting monotonous. And Al Golden, you're not absolved either. But because these missed tackles they're just piling up. Oh my goodness. Straight piling up, and we're not getting to the quarterback as efficiently as we need to. And there are times we get to the quarterback and we don't even get him. I mean, Xavier Watts still still out there missing tackles. I mean, it hurts. Riley Mills had another good game, and John Baptiste had another good game. Morrison had 5 tackles, but hell, he missed a couple of more. Leah Fowl, you missed a couple of tackles. DJ Brown took 2 bad angles the other night. J.D. Bertrand, 9 tackles, but he had 2 misses. Got a sack. And what's sad is all of these guys are upperclassmen. Upperclassmen. I mean, heavy senior class. I mean, this is tough. A lot of seniors on this defense. It's going to be a rough go next year defensively. A very tough go. We're losing a lot. It's going to be a tough go, guys. It really is. It's tough, guys. I mean, I'm still emotional after the game. Trying to do enough to win the games is not going to win you a national championship. And I hope, Marcus Freeman, I hope you're hearing this. You can't do enough to win. See, after Ohio State was doing enough not to lose the game. You got to get out of the mode that, hey, I am the bigger fish. Just because Las Vegas said we were the underdogs, I don't think anybody in Irish Nation felt like we were the underdogs. We weren't. We've got to play the game to win the game, not to go out there and say, oh, let's see if we can get by. That's not what champions do. Champions go out there to win the game. It's disheartening, and I've read a couple of articles that said the Irish need to look towards next season and start playing some of the younger guys. But just wanted to let you guys in on a little secret. When we play USC, this will be the 4th straight top 25 team that Notre Dame has played. Nobody has done that. The Pac-12 has come close because these guys are playing some brutal schedules. It's tough. Notre Dame has had a really tough schedule. You've had Ohio State, you've had Duke, you had to go to Durham, and then you had to go to Louisville, and then now you're inviting USC into your house. It's been a tough go, and I'm not saying that this is not the way it needs to be. This is what needs to set up the playoff schedule. Of course, we'll see. The SEC always try to figure out a way to have the easiest path. That's what they always do. But that's not the point. We got to get in the 12-player tournament. Right now, we're not in the four-player tournament, and we're probably not going to be. I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna say Gerard Parker's in over his head, but I just don't think he's ready for the position that was allotted to him. That's just like people that get in these positions. We went from Audric Estime being the number 1 rusher in the country. Now he's had 2 games where it's just been, and Jared Parker's got to get it figured out. And you got people saying maybe it's time for Love to be the guy. I don't think so. I think ultimately what you need to do is you do need to have more of a change of pace. If they're not going to let us have Estime, okay, if Estime is not the faster of the two, but if you can get them chasing Love on the edge and off tackles and whatnot, then what happens is that starts to allow you to pound away. But the other thing is you got to come up with more misdirection, trickery. And it's simple. If you're running a pro-style offense, it goes through play action. If you're running the football, look, you see at least 5 or 6 play action passes on a Sunday. In one game. But guys, it's a tough go. It really is. Congrats to Louisville, but I don't see them going undefeated. I see them losing either this week or next week. And, people, as I said, want to say it's the receivers, but a lot of it's Gerard Parker. It's his play calling. I'm dead serious. It's tough. It's tough when you're not maximizing what you have. And that hurts. That hurts your recruiting, guys. That's what I mean, you can't get great receivers here if you're not utilizing them. But with that being said, guys, I am going to roll up out of here. Make sure you go to the Facebook page and, check us out. And I will have a poll up for this week's game. I know I didn't do it last week. I had some things coming up in the studio. But go to the Instagram and see all the things that I'm involved in, the other shows I'm involved in, and also check out my other shows on YouTube. But also comment on the show down there. Let us know what we can do. And if you want to get in on the conversation, please do. You guys are great. I love the feedback and truly enjoy dialoguing with you guys. But until the next time, may God hold you in the palm of his hands.